Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and today is March 24th of 2024, and today we're celebrating Palm Sunday of the Lord's Passion. So for the Mass today, we have the Palm Sunday Gospel reading, which happens at the beginning of the Mass, if you have the procession with palms. That's from Mark's Gospel, chapter 11, verses 1 through 10. And then we have the reading of the account of the Passion, which is Mark 14, verse 1 through 15, chapter 15, verse 47, or the shortened version, which is simply Mark chapter 15, verses 1 through 36. So we'll just read that first gospel that we hear in the beginning that actually recounts for us the entrance into Jerusalem. When Jesus and his disciples drew near to Jerusalem, to Bethphage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village opposite you, and immediately on entering it, you will find a colt tethered on which no one has ever sat. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone should say to you, 'Why are you doing this?' reply, 'The master has need of it, and will send it back here at once.'" So they went off, and found a colt tethered at a gate outside on the street, and they untied it. Some of the bystanders were said to them, "What are you doing, untying the colt?" They answered them just as Jesus had told them to, and they permitted them to do it. So they brought the colt to Jesus and put their cloaks over it, and he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, and others spread leafy branches that they had cut from the fields. Those preceding him, as well as those following, kept crying out, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the kingdom of our father David that is to come. Hosanna in the highest." It's interesting to note that today, for Palm Sunday, the Roman Missal, that's the book that guides the celebration of the Mass and gives all the rubrics for the celebrations, that book instructs the priest, after the narrative of the Passion, a brief homily should take place, if appropriate. A period of silence may also be observed. It calls our attention that for a Sunday Mass, and one that's almost always very well attended, the Church directly tells the priest that it's okay for him not to say anything at all. That it's okay for there just to be silence after we hear the Passion. It's as though the readings speak for themselves, or that in his suffering and death, Christ has already told us everything that really needs to be said about God, about his love for us, and about our dignity. In a sense, after the Passion, there's nothing left to be said. In the Church's instructions, we can see clearly the point of our Palm Sunday celebration. In a few days, we will relive the Lord's Passion, death, and resurrection. These events are truly the center, not just of our liturgical year, but also of our lives, our world, and human history. Palm Sunday points us to the cross and reminds us that we can't live this week like those crowds did. On this day, on Palm Sunday, they greeted Jesus with applause and joy. But then those same people would be clamoring for his death a few short days later. We must live our lives as a constant and continual following of Christ. In this week, we must really try to draw near to Christ, to take up our crosses and follow him. That option for silence instead of a homily is really the Church's way of shouting at us that we need to turn to Christ, to seek him and only him. Holy Week is the time to turn to God all the more fervently. And so today, through the intercession of Mary, Our Lady of Sorrows, let's ask for the grace to truly live out this Holy Week as the time to draw near to Christ and embrace our crosses.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing the Gospel and homily, I invite you to share it with someone you know who may also find it rewarding, and also to subscribe to the Catholic Voice channel. Please see in the description below if you would like to receive a text message for each daily Gospel and homily. Please also keep our missionary priests throughout the world in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless.